This is Mo Salah, arguably the current best football player in the whole world. He's taking a selfie with his team, Liverpool, who have just become champions of the Premier League, one of the biggest accolades in sport. And he's using one of these, a Pixel 9 Pro, from a phone series that has seen an incredible rise. So let's talk about that. Hey guys, I'm Ryan Thomas, and as a United fan, this image hurts, but it also indicates strong position and feeling for the Google Pixel. That selfie is now iconic, and the Pixel is part of that. Google partners Liverpool as well as Arsenal and the British FA or Football Association. The Pixel is more and more these days becoming a pop culture icon, and I think that of all the generations, this works best with the 9 series. It's a massive cliche, but this is in no doubt the best Pixel they've ever made. I mean, it's a culmination of so many good factors, and it's a phone that I have no qualms recommending and comparing with the likes of the iPhone Pros and Galaxy Ultras, even if there are hardware limitations here that I've spoken about before. And with the Pixel 10 rumoured to be dropping sooner this year, the Pixel 9 series is looking to have a shorter spot in the limelight compared to its previous generations, and I just don't think that's fair. I have to hold my hands up and admit that my thoughts on the Pixel 9 Pro very much changed after I initially used it and made my initial review. This is one of my phones of the year from last year, and it's held up brilliantly. Outside of the pop culture references, the 9 Pro is one of the better flagship phones you can buy. By the way guys, we're really trying to hit 500,000 subscribers, so if you wouldn't mind hitting that button, really helps out. Cheers. Again, with the cliches, but how about that Pixel camera? I mean, sure, its hardware is really starting to show its age in places, given a lot of the stuff was actually carried over from its predecessor, but from the sheer image quality, balance of color and tone, and the fantastic camera modes to get the best out of your smartphone, they really elevate this. And what better way to show off the upgraded selfie camera than, well, having one of the best football players in the world use it in front of tens of thousands of fans in person and millions outside of the stadium. There really is something special about Google's Pixel camera that makes it what it is. Google markets its AI and photo tools more than it does the phone's actual camera quality, but there's something to be said of a great balance of colors and tones, the continuity across all 4 cameras, and the reliability of capturing moving subjects, which has been a Pixel strong point for a good few years now. It's at least on the level of, if not better than, the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is a strong W, with extras like Top Shot and 8K video boost really helping the Pixel's case. I have thoroughly enjoyed capturing images and video with the Pixel 9 Pro since I first got it out of the box, but this phone does not have to lean on the camera anymore, because so much of what makes the Pixel 9 is phenomenal. I mean, the display, the brightness and sharpness of it make it probably the best, if not one of the best smartphone displays right now. Combine that with an ultrasonic fingerprint reader and even bezels around the outside, and the whole front of the phone just looks and feels spot on. The glass being flat means that applying screen protectors is far easier than older models, and if like me you're not willing to take a chance on breaking your $1,000 smartphone, well, that's probably worth it. Not that you necessarily need to spend that much anymore, because this phone has seen some pretty generous discounts since it first came out. I've seen these for as low as sort of $700 on Amazon and Best Buy. Right now it's about $800 for the starting price with further trade-ins available. And with these Pixels, you kind of need to wait a little bit before you buy. I've always found that they tend to drop in value or price quite easily, where the competition doesn't. And right now at Mint Mobile, the smaller Pixel 9 Pro can be had for $599 US, which is absolutely insane and makes it an instant buy for me at that price. With that $400 off, you can also select through a range of data plans, but I just picked the unlimited one because it's been massively discounted and is now just $15 per month. You can pick a physical SIM card or use an eSIM as well, so click the link in the video description to check out the offer and save yourself a big wedge of cash. And maybe that price drop is because the internal hardware just really isn't quite at the level. I mean, the processor and storage aren't rapid from a benchmark standpoint, which might make the phone look a little bit worse on paper, but in reality, I haven't had any real performance problems, even when you load up higher end 3D games. This phone performs better than you'd expect, and although it's only about 8 months down the road, I haven't noticed any kind of slowdowns, which is also a great sign. Because the long-term software support makes these viable from a compatibility angle longer than OnePlus or Motorola phones. I mean, there's another 6 years and 9 months of support for this thing, so it should keep you going for a good while yet. Google has heavily marketed its things like Google Gemini and TopShot, Add Me, that kind of thing. It's clear that even though the hardware is pretty decent on here, it's those little bits of software magic, as they call them, that Google really wants the world to know about. These are things that other companies are really starting to bridge the gap with. You know, I'm thinking of things like Galaxy AI Suite standing out as a proper competitor, but stuff like Apple Intelligence, well, it's just not really at the level, and so why not make the most of these wins if you're Google whilst you're ahead? And speaking of being ahead, the 4700 mAh battery in this phone, again, more than enough in my opinion. Sure, it would be great to see a 5000 mAh battery in something this small, and maybe with a silicon carbon cell that is possible. But again, I'm just not sure I really need more battery life out of this thing. And yeah, the 27 watt wired charging it just feels very long in the tooth in 2025. And there are so many great 50 watt plus setups out there that put this thing to shame. The solution really is to charge your Pixel 9 Pro overnight, and then you don't really have to worry about it. But that doesn't work if you forget or you don't flick the switch on at the wall. I'm not saying that from experience at all. And you know, I would love to see faster charging on the Pixel 10 series, but it's by no means a reason to dismiss the Pixel 9 Pro. I cannot understate just how good this phone feels to use, even compared to those with more grunt or more heft. The way Google has balanced the hardware, the feel, the touch points, it's phenomenal. The small model is for me the better, well, more well-rounded approach because it's going to fit in your pocket more likely. It's perhaps the best small, or maybe even the best feeling overall phone that I've ever used. And that fingerprint reader is so much better in this compared to the optical ones you'll find in cheaper phones. Again, it just feels good to use. The phone feels quick. It feels good. It feels like it takes good photos. It just, well, it kind of feels right. And my colleague Will Sattelberg put it best in his review on AndroidPolice.com. The Pixel 9 Pro is Google's Goldilocks flagship. It balances software features, some exclusive to this phone by the way, the hardware grunt, versatility, and managed to package it into a phone that comes in 2 sizes, is nice to look at and maybe even nicer to hold, and does all the fundamentals just as well as you'd expect from a high-end smartphone. The smaller 9 Pro is the true sweet spot for me, and though the OnePlus 13 is still probably the better all-rounder, the 9 Pro is right up there with it, and it would be seriously hard for me to decide between those two. The Pixel 9 Pro just became iconic thanks to Salah and Liverpool FC, and I truly believe it deserves to be, because it's the best Pixel we've ever had, and one that I'd happily recommend to pretty much anyone. But I want to hear your thoughts on the Pixel 9 Pro. Let me know in the comments. Probably the last time I'll cover this phone in much depth because the new one's coming out at some point this year. The more I've used the 9 Pro and the 9 Pro XL, as you've seen on this channel, just the more I've come to appreciate these phones. And with phones in general, or flagship level ones, being absolutely huge, it's refreshing to use a device that actually fits in your pocket. So again, let me know if you're always Team Pixel this year and you didn't need to change your mind, or maybe you just cannot work with the limitations that this phone possesses, and in some markets it's so expensive, maybe it's just not worth it for you. Let us know what device you're using instead of the Pixel 9 Pro as well. Always great to hear the alternatives from the community. And whilst you're down there in the comments, be sure to hit like if you enjoyed today's content and subscribe to never miss another upload. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Ryan Thomas, and I will catch you later. Cheers.